Good morning. My name is Chris Bolsmeyer. It's August 16th, 2019. My content area for this video is going to be in concrete, and the lesson title is how to create a three-way chamfer joint. Okay, so I want to welcome the apprentices this morning. Good morning. And okay, so how many of you guys have had to cut some chamfer for a concrete wall form before? Okay. How many of you guys have had to cut a three-way intersection? So where you've got a concrete wall like this, and you've got a bulkhead to stop your concrete. Typically you're going to have a piece of chamfer here. Then you got your top of wall elevations, and you've got two pieces of chamfer that intersect this vertical piece. Okay. How many of you guys have had to try cutting that, or that intersection? Okay. How many of you guys have been frustrated with that before? Yeah, me too. All right, that thing used to kick my butt until a journeyman showed me how to position this chamfer in my cutters. Okay, because there's three different sides to this chamfer, right? You've got 1, 2, 3 sides. Two of the sides form a 90 degree. The third side always forms a 45 degree angle to those first two sides. And so there's three different sides that you can position this in your cutter. And I think that's where my frustration used to lie, because I couldn't remember, does it matter which side do I place it on there? So I'm going to take you through step by step how to cut this three-way chamfer with the goal of practicing this for the next 3 days, about a half an hour to 45 minutes each day. And by the end of the week, having you guys confident about cutting this joint, okay? That's the goal this week. And I think with this method, it can really help you. So step one, okay, is to mark our first piece of chamfer, okay? So typically, I do my vertical piece first that's going to go in the corner. And a lot of times I'll have that already installed on each side of my bulkhead before I even connect my bulkhead to my side form. Okay, but for this purposes, we'll just stick it in here now. Okay, but this first cut, and I'll just mark this, that's always going to be just a square cut. Okay, and now, for a square cut, this is the one exception where I just lay my piece flat, okay? So I lay the 45 portion of my chamfer, I just lay that flat on my table like that. I find that's easiest because it's the lowest profile for cutting it square. So I'm gonna cut that like that, and that's going to go in there just like that. So this first piece is always cut square. And I can do my vertical piece like that, or I could also install this piece first. But again, that first cut would be square, or I also could have used it and installed this piece first. Again, it's just a square cut. Wherever I install it, that first piece is just a square cut. Okay, so now we're just going to tack this in here. Okay, first piece, square cut. Second piece, okay, and we're going to choose either my bulkhead or my wall. It doesn't really matter. I'll just choose a piece for my wall. And obviously this wall form would be extending, so I got a little shorter piece for a mock-up. But here's what I want to tell you. Your second piece, where it intersects that first piece, you're going to need to cut a 45 degree miter on it, okay? So what I do is I stick my piece up just like it's going to sit there, and then I'll slide it over, and I can see that I need to make a 45 going this way. Okay, so I draw it on that 45 degree side, the way it needs to get cut. Okay, so now how do I know which side of my cutters to make this cut? Well, I look at my line that I just scribed, okay? If I place it in here, okay, and here's the thing to remember. When you place the chamfer to make your 45-degree cut, the 90-degree side always faces towards you. The 45-degree side of this chamfer always faces away from you, okay? So, looking at my line that I drew, showing the direction of my miter, if I place my chamfer in here, I can see that my blade is going to cut that not in the correct direction. Okay, so if I flip it over here with my 90-degree side pointing towards me and my 45-degree side facing away, I can see my blade, my cutting blade, is in the correct angle of my line. So I know that's the side that I want to make this miter cut on. So let's do that. I'll make that miter cut. Okay. Now when I place this on the top of my wall, that intersects, and I've got my nice 45 joint there. Okay. So first cut is always square. Your second cut that intersects that first piece is always going to have to get cut on a 45-degree angle. Okay? So let's tack that piece in. So that was piece number 2. Now, piece number 3 would be this side that's going to go against our bulkhead. Okay. That third piece, you need the double bevel. It's a double-sided 45. Okay. Sounds complicated, but it's actually quite easy. Okay. Here's all you do. Again, you start off with a 45, and it doesn't matter which side I cut that 45 on, okay? What does matter is always how I place my piece of chamfer in my cutters. So I'm just gonna start it on this side. Again, my 45-degree side is facing away from me. My 90-degree side is facing towards me. I make that first 45-degree cut, just like that, okay? Now, what I do to make that double 45-degree bevel cut is I'm going to take it and I'm going to flip it over to my other side, okay? Again, placing it to where my 45 is facing away from me and my 90-degree side is pointing towards me. Now, if you notice, I've got a long point and I've got a short point right there. All I do is I run that short point right up to my center line on my cutter. This cutter has a little center line right there. If I run that short point up there, right on that line, and then I make that cut, I end up with my double bevel. Okay? And that double bevel is what you need for this third piece to intersect nicely with those first two pieces. Okay, and your goal is to get that to where it's nice and even and centered in there, which it is. So now I'm just going to mark this to length, scribing that on the side of my form. I'm going to just cut that square, and I'm going to tack this piece up in there. how you end up with that three-way joint. It looks clean, okay? So let's recap. Step one, square cut, whatever your first piece is. Step two is gonna be a 45-degree bevel that intersects that first piece. The third piece is your double bevel. It's always gonna have that double bevel to intersect the two pieces. And the thing you wanna remember, okay? 45-degree side, always facing away from me whenever I make that 45-degree cut. Remember that, and it's gonna save you a lot of headaches.